Thanks for staying with us. So if you have never heard of Magodo Phase 2 estate, I'm sure in the last 1 week, you have been hearing about this estate back to back. Anyways, the residents of this estate area took to the streets to protest the continuous presence of policemen in their environment. This led to the governor of Lagos State, Governor Sanwo-Olu, and some members of his cabinet to come to the estate to speak with the protesting residents. At the estate, the governor asked the police officers led by the CSP to vacate the estate. But the CSP, however, told the governor that he and his armed colleagues were at the estate on the orders of the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, as well as the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami. Now, the video of the CSP defying or refusing to call his superior at the instruction of the governor of Lagos State went viral. And people were saying, if the governor indeed is the chief security officer of the state, doesn't he have the authority to instruct the CSP to call his superiors in Abuja? Now, we all watched the video, and the question really is, where do you draw the line? You know, some are saying this is raising the issue of state policing. This and others are saying, is this the same governor that they said gave the order for the army to shoot innocent protesters? So if a governor of a state, if everybody say that this is the same governor that called for the order, gave the order for the shooting of innocent protesters, why can't he instruct the ordinary CSP to call? He couldn't make a focus. So there's been different arguments on social media, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Let me call our viewers. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also send us messages, but I'd like some of you who have no clue of what we're talking about to watch the video, the clip, so that you can have a better understanding.
Okay, so do you have a copy of the phone call?
Oh, I don't have it at hand here, but it's been given to them ever before now.
No.
It's been given to the residents ever before now.
No, the court order is not with the residents, it's with the government. So the government has been given.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
So whatever court order you are talking, which you are not even competent to know, which you don't even know anything about, is not to the residents. It's a case between the supposed people and the Lagos State government. Thank you, sir. So it has nothing to do with the residents of the state. Please, can you call your superior in Abuja that you need to deactivate and you need to leave Lagos now? Please. Can you call your superior in Abuja and tell them that the governor is here and I'm the chief security officer and that you don't have any business being in my state right now and that I want you to disengage forthwith from here?
Thank you very much, sir. Your Excellency, sir. I'm not here on my own orders.
That's why I'm asking you to make a phone call and tell them, your superior, that I'm here standing in front of you. Make that phone call.
Thank you, sir. I'm here on instruction of the Inspector General of Police to the AGF, sir. And that is why I'm here. I'm too small or too low to call them. Your Excellency, sir, with due respect, sir, you can call them directly, sir. So that they will answer to you.
So Inspector General has asked me to come.
I'm here on instruction of Inspector General of Police to the AGF. Attorney General of Police.
I have spoken to the Attorney General at this moment,
okay.
So he's not aware that you are here.
Well, we are expecting the
So
call.
that's the video that went viral.
It is.
Nima, let me start with you. What are your thoughts on this?
I just wanted to take the risk to say that it's obvious that the last call is not with the governor in any of these matters, including the toll gate and what we just saw here. This is a chief superintendent of police officer saying to the governor that I dare not call the person that deployed me here. Most likely, I can only take calls when they call me to give me a new order, but I dare not call them, even when you are standing in front of me, to reverse the order, to say anything in this country. And so you would wonder how the instructions or the cadre of the police runs. I would expect that if the IG had deployed police officers, the commissioner of police, who is the immediate resident police officer, will be aware. And so that the governor does not need to be here to do this. The commissioner of police can be invited to the office because, you know, of course, of the governor, and made to understand that this has to stop, and he can then, you know, report. At least the commissioner of police has been promoted, is now an AIG. report to his authority, his superior, and
Nima,
say,
the commissioner of police was there 2 weeks
And they
ago
did not even answer.
and gave the order 2 weeks ago. And then
And
the
they
people
did
on
not
ground said they did
even
not get signal. The commissioner was on ground in Magodo, mentioned that they should go back, that because it's an issue with the governor, and the police officers on ground said they did not get signal from Abuja. So they couldn't take orders from the person on ground who is in charge of the environment. So it just is scaring Murayo.
it is. And as it is now, for me, this whole situation, or the way we run Nigeria, we don't allow offices or the authority, the right cadre to be respected. All lands in all states are directly under. That is what our constitution has provided. That is what our Land Use Act has provided, that the governor is in control of all land, holding in trust for the people of the state. Even if there's an issue and it borders around land, the governor has to know. Now, for me, I also felt that the governor didn't need to be here. He is the governor. He didn't have to be talking to the ordinary CSP. Sorry to use the word ordinary. You are an elected office holder. You don't have to talk to an appointee. You have the power of the people given to you by election. If the governor could not reach the AG, those are the two officers mentioned by the CSP now, the IG and the AG of the country. If you couldn't reach them by phone call, the presidency will not deny the governor entrance into Asoro. Right. It's been done before. So, in Borno, when the governor of Borno, the former governor of Borno, I'm trying to remember the former governor before the present one now, had an issue of security in the state, and he kept doing press briefing, and he couldn't gain the attention of the executive. He went to picket Asoro. He got an attention. He got that audience.
All right, so I hear that. Let me come to Mariam, because the governor specifically said that he has spoken to the Attorney General, Malami, and he said he's not aware that you people are here. According to what he said in the video,
he said so.
Malami is not aware that you're here. So the person who sent you, that's the IGP, call him. And he also said in the same video that he got a letter from the IGP, right? Possibly, I don't know what the content of the letter was, but before he could say Jack Robbins, according to his own words, you are here. So obviously, there's an instruction that needs to come from Abuja that the people on ground are yet to have.
Okay, may I?
The order?
Okay, yes. So see, I know a lot of people have looked at this video and said, oh, it's embarrassing to our governor. Why would he bring himself to this position where they are talking back at him and refusing to take his orders? I think our governor was being smart, in my opinion. When we talk about sometimes we say, oh, our governor is doing nothing. And I think he wanted it on camera to show that I have called people and look at, even while we're here, Nigerians can see now for themselves that he's done his part, but there's obviously someone above all of them that's refusing to let the police, that's refusing the police officers to leave the estate. So sometimes, let's look beyond these things. These are politicians. They understand how this thing works. And so right now, today, we're watching this across Nigeria. Presidency is watching it. And people are now going to ask, who is the person that is refusing to let the police officers leave Magodo? And why would you get to the point where the governor has to come on TV, come to the place? Because he could have sat in his office, made a phone call, made a few phone calls, and everywhere would be cleared.
But do you think that our governor really hasn't learned his lessons from the Lekki massacre? Because if you remember, when the protest started, he came to Lekki to talk to the people and said, I will take your complaints to Abuja. And he was a good guy, and he did, right? And he did that.
Yes.
But unfortunately, he backfired. This is a man that took your letter and took it to Abuja. This is what my people in Lagos are saying. Please, these are the 5-point agenda. It somewhat backfired on him because eventually things happened, and then they said, oh, he was what I called the order for them to shoot. Now, this has happened again within your citizens. And the same governor is going to the same place again and saying, listen, I want to help the leader. I want you to stand down on your order. Shouldn't our governor have learned that really your conversations be directly to Abuja, not to the people on ground?
Murayo, if there's anything, the governor has won my respect over time, honestly. This governor is someone that, when he came into power, there was really little expectation. People felt like, oh, this is a political game. Or it came as a political retaliation for someone. But he's won our respect. Yes, they told him Sorosoke. Yes, they called him names. But you cannot deny that our governor responds to people. Because right is a responsive governor, and that's what we expect from a leader. That you will come and talk to the people. Not that you will talk at us from your office. Not that you will say you are the political leader and they should just respect and bow before you. Our governor hasn't been like that. He comes to the floor. He talks to the people. We might not like the entirety of the reaction he got, but I like and I respect what he's done so far. So on the show yesterday morning, I called him to respond. On the ground in Magodo, people called him that, no, governor, you're not doing anything because they didn't see him. Apparently, he was acting, but they didn't see him. So sometimes you walk and they don't see you to be working. So you come and say, I am working. So that's what he did yesterday. He showed that he had been working, and he showed how his hands are tied. Learning moment for us again. The security apparatus of the state cannot rest in the federal government. Exactly. It can't. Absolutely. Because when things go wrong here, you have to be waiting for signal to come when things are going bad within the state.
Okay, let me go on a break, because therefore lies the argument for the state policing, where he keeps saying, I am the chief security officer of the state.
It can't be. What does it really mean?
So what does it mean? Let's go on a break. When we come back, we dig further. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So the phrase that have reoccurred, even from NSAS up until now, is who gave the order? That's the same question everybody has been asking. And in the same situation, who gave the order? Now, it's suggesting like it is Abubakar Malami, the AGF, that actually possibly, or the Inspector General of Police. We're not sure yet. It's still not clear. Now, the point is, everybody is clamoring for local policing. But the argument against it is the abuse of power by the governors of this state policing. So when we see this kind of thing play out,
it looks like abuse of power.
Are we saying
policing?
So where is the abuse of power in this regard? If the governor had the full power of the state, would he be treated the way he was treated yesterday?
No. There's no solution that cannot be abused. Anything you put on ground, federal, state police, can be abused. Resort to the courts. But don't say that we have this solution. We will not take it because of the possibility of this. So what we are seeing here is that the governor has commissioner of police in his state who can carry gun, has police officers in his state taking orders from somewhere, and he's saying, I do not want an insurrection in my state. You know, if this was Rivers State, Wike had attempted to save one woman who was being, her house was in Rivers State. I'm trying to get her name.
I think she was in a...
He went with his own apparatus of security. They came with their gun. Obviously, he did not wait for the federal IGP to give him order. He shut down oil companies during COVID. He used his own apparatus of security, obviously not using that of the state. You see a civil governor having a conversation,
telling you, please.
You people will be looking for Jaguda example because it is possible.
But our governor is not Jaguda.
That's why
he's not Jaguda.
That's why
we don't want him to be
Jaguda. We can kill him. That's why Nigerians will call him names. People went online yesterday calling him all sorts of names.
We don't know anything.
Because he's trying to be a civil person, having a conversation, trying to get to the bottom of things.
Please.
Yes.
Gra is what works in Nigeria. People are looking for gra.
We appreciate it.
Yes.
You appreciate it.
I think that the majority would appreciate it. We might want the aggressive nature, but we cannot evolve in that space. So here is my own worry. We don't know who gave the order. If we are complaining that we will not give states policing, we won't give the states. We won't give states ability to police because they might abuse it. We have seen the government, the federal government situation, in an abusive environment where we don't know who gave the order. There is a court order in a case against Lagos State government, and then they came to take possession, not with the government, not in a conversation with the government, but on the ground. Who gave the order?
Did you even hear the conversation between the governor and the CSP? The CSP's mentality was like, we told the residents that we are coming now. The governor said, you don't have this business, you don't have to business with residents. So the case between me, the government, and the family that is saying that they want the land.
The police was also being abused in this case. You know, we've heard several times where powerful people will want justice for themselves and use their power to get the police to do what they want. And that is the abuse of police. So it is not for... The question goes back to, yes, who gave the order on this? We need to know, number one. Number two, who is going to benefit from this issue?
Oh.
Who is benefiting from this issue? There's somebody, when it comes to conflict resolution, for you to resolve a conflict, you need to look for beneficiaries from that conflict. So who is benefiting from this if this conflict resolves in their end?
Yeah. Okay, so I think we should also make it clear that there's supposed to be a court order saying that the families that own this area have been given their land back, right? So they are working on the order of the Supreme Court. That's why they are there. So I don't want us to make this conversation to seem that someone just abused the police to carry out like a personal vendetta, against a certain people. There is an order for the family to take. So their presence there is legal. Their presence there is based on the order from the Supreme Court. At least that's what the family members keep saying.
According to the court ruling, they are giving them 500 or so plots, right? But wasn't specific as to which area.
Yeah, so the police is there to enforce the court ruling.
No.
The police is there to enforce the court ruling. Yes. That's why the police is there. Yes. And that court ruling came from the Supreme Court, came from Abuja. Yes. And until they get a message from there saying that they can leave that place, they cannot.
So what is the court ruling? What is the court ruling? What is the court ruling?
For what I understand, and what the families keep posting and talking about, is that the government has given them the court ruling to reclaim their 350, 500 plots of land in that Magodo estate. So I don't know if there's a specific area that they have given them. But for the police to be able to come to enforce it, it means that they have a paper or a court ruling, because we see that they have been marking some houses.
All houses.
So, yes, so they are there not because one person sat down. The way I understand, one person just sat and said, I'm going to make the Magodo residents uncomfortable. Now, I think what the state governor is doing now is to see how we can amicably solve this situation. We have two people their money, their years in building their own personal assets on these lands. And then we have these families that feel that this land is rightfully ours and was taken away from us because of corruption. So for me, what we're trying to see is how we can fairly resolve this issue.
In resolving, there's an 11 a.m. meeting today, which we're obviously going to be monitoring.
Yes.
To see what happens, because the governor has called on all the major stakeholders to have a meeting at 11 o'clock this morning. So
I wanted to quickly say that there's a conflict of interest here. In this case, there are two valid parties, the Lagos State and the family. These two parties got a court order. The family are not saying they brought an enforcement order. We just saw military officers. There's a court judgment that they're relying on. But there's no enforcement order from any court saying we've gotten an enforcement, we are trying to enforce this particular order. So some judgments are declaratory, they are there. The parties are now going to go back and resolve on how to settle. Are we going to take over people's houses to give you, or we can resettle you somewhere? Those are now in negotiation. The family will not now just show up and say, mark. Except, no, I'm just trying to clarify that the order is from somewhere else. They accept there's an order, and that order is not showing any court. So somebody is behind this. That's just one. Two is that in this case, the person in question is not a party here. We don't know the name of any such person. We only know that the governor of Lagos State, who is a party, and this whatever family people are parties, we can see them. When you want to come, you don't just come and start marking houses. When matters like this happen, there's always that room for mediation. There's always a revaluation of properties. You don't just make people uncomfortable as a resolution to this. The governor in the state, for instance, now, who has power over all lands, can say, this is how we want to resolve it. Let's move to another area and resolve it, because we don't want these people to lose their investment in this place. So to put the governor in a position where he doesn't even know what is happening, and he's saying to you, whoever sent you here, call him. It's wrong of that person, whoever it is, who's making
now going to calls. I don't want us to go into the case proper, because the truth is that they're still trying to resolve. All parties are valid, right? The family, the state government, even the residents who have legitimately built their houses. Who have CFO. So they're all legitimate parties here. But as I said, the parties are going to have a meeting today. But the real crux of our conversation this morning is the authority of the chief security officer of the state over a situation that is coming directly from Abuja. Where do we draw the line? And that's the real question.
There's a clash.
Why is there a clash? And can we learn from this clash going forward? Because we're trying to push those in the National Assembly that, listen, we want state police. And they're all arguing, saying, no, it cannot happen. Can we use this as a premise to say, listen, we need authority over our policing within our states?
Sadly, there have been several situations that we can use as premise. There have been several times when security within the states is abused. Authority ability to give authority is not there within the state. You are the chief security officer of your state, but you're powerless to control any major security apparatus, which is why they now created Amoteco and all the other para-security outfits to support. But we still believe that the real solution lies in reviewing the Constitution itself. That would give it. If you can't call me a governor and I don't have power over security in my state.
Let me take this call from Olumide.
Call my organ.
I don't know if I
Olumide, are you there?
I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Sorry for keeping you.
Good morning to you.
Morning.
Good morning to you all.
Thank you.
First time caller.
Welcome to the show.
I want you to take cognizance of the fact that there was a Supreme Court judgment, and that judgment, coming from the Supreme Court, I believe the Attorney General and the Inspector General of Police should have a say in what the Supreme Court judgment is all about. The judgment did not come from the State High Court, it came from the Supreme Court. So I want you to address that issue, that the Attorney General of the Federation and the Inspector General of the Police should have a say in executing what the Supreme Court says. That's my submission this morning. Good morning.
Thank you.
So
and I guess that's why the governor mentioned in that video that he had spoken to the AGF and he had spoken to the IGP, because of when you get a ruling from that level, those are the people that are leading the enforcement of that ruling. And that's why I was trying to say that. So those are the people that he had to call out, and he's called them out. But now we'll see how the federal government, whoever they are, would now respond to this.
So you have to wrap up on
there's a
few
process.
messages on Facebook.
There's a process to how judgments are. When you get judgment, you don't just go and start to paste it.
I don't think that's what happened.
So I'm just saying that in the course of that process, there's time. This all of us can be avoided.
It's been years.
Yes.
It's been years. This did not just happen within a week. This has been many years.
This picketing cannot just be out of the blue.
Exactly.
The government cannot just not know what is happening.
Because if the Attorney General, who is the custodian of this Supreme Court judgment, is saying, I'm not aware they are there. According to the government.
What I'm saying.
Hang it there. And the government himself said that the custodian of this Supreme Court judgment, saying, I am not aware they are there. So if it's the Inspector General that now sent them, on what basis?
By now, the government should know, because, you know, he's a party in this matter.
And that is
the
why
Attorney General for Lagos State, representing him, would have been presented with the court order, said this is what we are going to be doing.
And that is why I feel that the governor planned to say that on TV. I feel the governor planned to let Lagosians know and the Magodo residents know that I have called those involved. They have said they don't know. So let's hear them and let the whole of Nigeria and Lagosians and Magodo residents hear I've done my part. That's why I feel it's a deliberate move, because the governor could have sat in his office and handled that conversation that happened there.
And again, from my own view, I feel that the governor is playing the good guy that we saw in Lekki, and playing the good guy.
I don't think he's playing.
When I say playing, I'm saying that he is a good guy, and that role is playing, and he's being himself. He's being himself can be counterproductive. So sometimes, in my own view, my view is that this good guy that we saw that went to Lekki Toll Gate to speak, to mediate amongst the people and the federal government.
Still doing the same.
He's doing the same thing. He's himself at the Magodo. I'm saying, if by doing that, is that the right approach as a governor, or should he have stayed in his office and made that call?
Executive call.
We're all critiquing and analyzing and condemning his action for being a good guy to go there. That's the point I'm trying to make.
So, Mariah, it's okay to critique personalities, but that is the truth. Different personalities have their strengths and they have their weaknesses. It has what makes it admirable, and it has its backlash. But I personally respect people who are respectful of others. He understands his office and what he's meant to do, but does not think that you're less of a human being, that he cannot converse with you respectfully. Right. So that one is left to us.
Okay, that's all we can take on this segment. We didn't take any comments on Facebook. Please, can we read before I run off?
Even Magodo won't take this nonsense. Malami and the IG, we know they gained admission to school through quota system. This is very sad.
I wanted to respond to that.
Aduni Fernandez says, imagine you are the governor, you don't have the sole authority over your state. This country is serious.
Any other comments, nothing? All right, that's all we can take. Let's go on a break. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're bringing in our guest, a two-time Honorable House of Representative, Honorable Bush Alebioshu. He's going to be our guest, but we're going to be discussing education, but we'd like to hear his thoughts on this topic we just concluded. So I'll still go back to education because I really want you to, that's what you're here for. But before the break, we're discussing about the governor's trip to Magodo.
Correct.
Now, there are two things the ladies and I have discussed earlier. The fact that he even went at all, and there's a point of view that should he have even gone? Secondly, the police not responding to his request of calling the IGP, was it in the place of the police to do that? What's the law? As a chief security officer of the state, does he have authority over the police officer, or he doesn't? I mean, those are the two issues I'd like you to touch on for us and give us some clarity.
Thank you for having me. First of all, when we take a look at the fact that, I mean, you said, should he have gone there? This had been all over the news for several days. And I think I had seen a placard where it said lives are at stake. And the duty of any government is to protect lives and property. And also considering the fact that Alausa, the seat of government, is just right around the corner. Right. What reason would he have, or would he have given not to show up? On several occasions, we had the question had been put forth to say, is the governor actually, are the governors actually the chief security officers of the states? On paper, yes.
On paper.
But who do the commissioners of police listen to? The IG of police.
Yes.
Who does the IG work closely with? The Attorney General.
Yes.
And I'm glad that this has happened because we never really paid attention to it. And until things actually concern us personally, we don't get to stand up to it. So with this, I mean, I'm glad it was all over the news, and the powers that be, policymakers, legislators would also see that there is need to change this.
So it used to be a House of Representatives, but
Correct.
we're talking about this issue of local policing, state policing, and it's taking forever. There's just so much politicking and talk over it. They can't get us to a consensus. Do you think this might serve as some kind of a premise to begin to restart this conversation again?
We need to understand that various representatives come from various areas, and every state would have its, let me put it this way, its agenda. If it's not top on the agenda, I really don't see this happening, unless, I mean, we have the Governors Forum, and I think with the strength of the Governors Forum, now that they have seen it happen to one of them, they should be able to lobby their representatives to really look into this.
Before we leave, I would like to just ask you about the feedback that the governor, I almost call it backlash, I want to say feedback that the governor has gotten, that maybe he shouldn't have gone there. It wasn't a proper show of power for him to go and be talking to people like that. Yes. That what would you, being that you've been in the political position, you're a leader yourself, what would you say is the right approach? Would you say what he did was the right approach, or would you have done it differently?
Until you find yourself in that position, you wouldn't be able to. I mean, he's the one who knows the amount of pressure he was under, number one. Number two, we need to understand that there's politics, there's power, and there's also what you call arrangement. Arrangement. Not in all cases do you solve issues with this isn't fair. Sometimes you have to put being fair aside and to really tackle the issue. Like I said, he would have had to go through Magodo on a daily basis on his way to work. What reason would he have? What's the most he would have done? He would have sent his top security aide to go speak with them. He wasn't there for the police. He was there for the people of Magodo. So once we understand that, it depends on how you see. Muhammad Ali said something. He said, for a long time, he thought it was the deer that crossed the road until he realized one day that, wait a minute, it's really not the deer that crossed the road. It's the road that cut through the forest. So when you sit back and you find yourself being a resident of Magodo, would you actually say, no, the governor shouldn't have come? Rather?
You put that,
I mean, the only person they could look up to was the governor. And being there was not for the police, but for the people.
Right.